Good afternoon and welcome to the Midday News for Thursday, May 28. I'm Antonia Atkinson. Here's what we have in the bulletin.
Jamaica Fire Brigade to conduct a site visit at KFC following explosion. Megamart Portmore to be permanently closed on June 30. And later in sports, Reggae Boys in Unity Cup final after defeating India on Wednesday.
Thank you for joining us. Now the details. The Jamaica Fire Brigade will be conducting a site visit at the KFC location in downtown Kingston following yesterday's explosion. Senior Superintendent in charge of the Kingston and St Division, Patrick Gooden, says firefighters were not formally notified of the incident.
This morning, we will be doing some, physical check at the location just to confirm what transpired, but certainly, from all indications, we have not been so notified of such an incident. It's not normal. I mean, I can, there are cases where persons lives in remote location and for whatever reason choose not to call the fire department. And then what they would subsequently do when they recognize now that there's a need for them to get some kind of confirmation and support, then they would come to us.
Our team took immediate steps to secure the location and ensure the necessary emergency response and support were provided. Right now, our focus is on supporting the affected team members and ensuring the continued safety of our people and customers.
The restaurant's operation manager, Christopher Powell, confirmed 2 persons were injured, but their injuries are not considered life-threatening. And over in Georgia, St. Mary, a construction site was left damaged following a suspected arson attack. Work equipment, vehicles, and a generator were destroyed in the blaze.
All the things that were inside, I think there are a few things like some fiberglass things that to put inside the earth for the cables to be run. There might be 20 of them there. And a few tires and things like that, tools. And decks too, called table and chairs and decks inside there too. Yeah, that's it.
Now, as at news time, a female suspect was taken into custody. Councillor for the Rocky Point Division in Clarendon, Winston Maraj, is calling on the government to identify and utilize available lands to build more fire stations across the parish. Speaking at an interagency network program, he argued that as the parish's population expands, firefighters are finding it increasingly difficult to respond quickly to emergencies in some communities.
When I was mayor, I had identified 5 government properties that I say, well, Clarendon need 5 more fire stations to adequately cover the needs. We have one in Frankfield, we have one in Maypen, but it's such a big parish. By the time the fire truck reaches on Rocky Point, it's 35 minutes, I check it already. 35 minutes to reach Rocky Point from Maypen. And with the traffic now, everybody I drive car now. So it hold up the truck. Yeah. So we need a fire station in London Town. And we have the land down there.
He also emphasized the importance of collaboration in addressing gaps within the parish and across the country.
So let us put 2 of them houses together and build up, and the fireman then can tell you how we set it up and how we set up the office and how to do all of these things. And we make sure we have a fire station right there in Kellet, one in Chapelton, one more in Lionel Town, one in Longville Park. And we have enough fire stations to adequately cover the parish. We only need to truck them now. And we take some of the arm and take with the 2 truck where Liz have up a wheel sit down there.
As more members of the diaspora and overseas investors choose to relocate to Jamaica, discussions are intensifying about whether the country's infrastructure is keeping pace with the growing demand. That issue was among those discussed on day 3 at the Thropex Investor Conference in Negril, Westmoreland.
Despite global economic uncertainty, Jamaica continues to position itself as an attractive destination for investment and relocation. The island's expanding real estate market, tourism product, and growing interest from returning residents have triggered new developments island-wide.
I definitely see the effort and the discussions that are taking place and the initiatives and the legislation coming forth. And I think ultimately it takes time, but we're on the right track.
But while some have praised the country's progress, others pointed to issues like road infrastructure development.
There's this kind of mentality where we build stuff here and then we think that's it. Well, you build it, but then you have to maintain it. You have to set aside money for that. So you like the roads. If you don't sort of maintain the roads, eventually it will decay. There's potholes. I like driving here, but I do not like driving at night. And if it's raining, God almighty, I've had so many punches here. It's unbelievable. And largely because the roads are terrible.
At the Tropics Investor Conference, some participants noted that as more people look to relocate and invest locally, pressure is increasing on existing systems. It's why they believe accountability is critical.
The people don't trust the government, and I think that is probably the biggest issue that has to be addressed. I think with change and the more things are implemented that are being stated and being pushed to the public, as they start to see those things become real and manifest, that they'll start to believe that, you know, those in power are really for the people.
The concerns come amid broader conversations about sustainable development and urban expansion across the Caribbean as governments attempt to balance rapid growth with infrastructure demands. Kerry Simpson, TVJ News.
Prime Minister Dr. Andrew Holness says the government is intensifying efforts to reform Jamaica's land policy through expanded housing developments, faster land titling, and more structured settlement planning. Shamela Pullen reports.
Some 124 residents of Manchester have received their land titles under the systematic land registration process.
Meaning we didn't wait on you to come to us to register. We declared an area and said this area has quite a number of land occupiers, people who have had the land for generations. They claim ownership, but they don't have anything registered in the book of titles, as Minister Montague calls it, to say that they own it.
Speaking at the recent land titling handing over ceremony, Prime Minister Dr. Andrew Holness said the government's land policy is focused on ensuring Jamaicans have access to properly developed land and supported by critical infrastructure.
So it's not that you don't want you to have land to live on. That's not it. Take that out of your mind. We want you to have land that you can live on and grow. A lot of people get land and they end up becoming locked in because they can't do anything else with it. No water, no sewage, no proper road, no infrastructure. So land development has to be synchronized with infrastructure development, with social development, hospital, police station, fire brigade. It has to be synchronized with economic needs.
The Prime Minister explained that the administration is expanding affordable housing solutions while improving the formal registration and titling of lands across the island. He added that the government's policy also includes making lands available for farming through agri-parks and releasing selected government-owned properties for housing and land divestment programs.
When you fly over Jamaica, and you look at all our parishes and you see the developments taking place, you see a chaotic development in many instances. And where there is chaotic development, you're going to have crime and violence and poverty. In other words, the spatial development, in other words, how you develop the land determines the quality of life that you will be able to enjoy. So it's not that we don't want you to have land to live on.
Shamela Pullen, TVJ News.